Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today a little bit of a different topic, definitely different from anything I have done before, but today I will be asking you for your help, for your thoughts and opinions regarding something that most of us use every single day and something that really affects our operations. Most of us have a lot of questions and concerns regarding this program. Today we're going to be talking about Highway. Ready? Let's go. So since I started this channel, my goal hasn't changed. It has always remained the same. Try to make a difference in this industry, no matter how small, for carriers and truckers. Now, the way I do this is, of course, the market updates because I want to make sure that everyone is on the same page and that everyone is able to make sound business decisions in terms of where to go and the markets they're going to. And of course, in terms of news, I only choose those articles that could affect your business operations or how you plan your business. But there is also a bigger issue, and that's the fact that it seems like carriers and truckers always get the short end of the stick, and most of us feel like we're on a very tight leash because of systems like Carrier 411 and Highway. Now, while these systems are geared towards preventing freight fraud, which, yes, we all have to admit has been rampant in this industry, especially over the last couple of years. I have done a few videos on the kind of fraud that happens in this industry. But what ends up happening is that those good, honest carriers and drivers who operate by the book are also affected by these systems. And that creates a situation where, as a carrier or as a driver, as an owner operator, you feel like you were put in a box and you can't make a single move without potentially losing your business or losing some significant amount of money because of either false freight guard reports, which have happened, or highway flagging you accidentally because that's what the algorithm dictates. Yeah, that becomes a problem because all of a sudden, if you're not within your box, you risk losing connections with brokers that you have worked with before, of course, unless you're someone who works with direct shippers. To top it off, there are other concerns that I'm very, very well aware of amongst carriers and drivers regarding highway specifically, and that's the privacy question. The question of what happens with that information, all in the name of freight fraud. So much information is being sent to highway. Doesn't that potentially open the door to more fraud? And to top that off, there is also a question of the algorithms. When you rely on algorithms to screen or vet carriers, there are bound to be mistakes. Just to give you an idea, recently I received some insight into a very interesting situation. As we all know, Highway recently implemented the new filter, which allows brokers to filter out carriers who are somehow connected to non-domiciled CDLs. But what happens when the filtering is wrong because the algorithm made a mistake? This is a real situation. A small carrier with 3 account holders, 2 US citizens and 1 green card holder uses Highway. But all of a sudden, after that filter comes out, Highway flags the operation of this carrier as a non-domiciled operation. Now, mind you, this carrier has no freight guards and basically operates by the book. Why were they flagged considering that the 3 account holders are 2 US citizens and 1 green card holder? Well, according to the person who shared this story, one of the account holders who is a US citizen does not have a real ID. And when you do not have a real ID, you will have in the corner of your license federal limits may apply because you are not allowed to travel throughout the United States, at least by plane, without a real ID unless you have a passport or a passport card. What is the result? Yes, in this case, this US citizen does not have a real ID, has that federal limits apply, and Highway flagged that ID as a non-domiciled ID. And that, of course, resulted in this carrier getting disconnected from a lot of brokers and losing a significant portion of their business. Now, apparently this carrier reached out to brokers and brokers are saying that this is a Highway issue. They have to reach out to Highway. It's an internal problem that has to be solved. But when reaching out to Highway, this carrier said that they're getting generic answers that are not really helpful. And yeah, my point is when algorithms are involved, of course, there is a big chance of mistakes. But the problem is that these mistakes, they actually cost people their businesses and livelihoods. So why am I telling you this? Well, some of you might remember, some of you might have watched. Last week, I made a short as well as a post that I am getting on a call with Highway. They reached out to me. I was not 100% sure what the call was about, but I can tell you I was surprised at how aware they are of their reputation with carriers. And I was even more pleasantly surprised about the fact that they're willing to listen to carriers' concerns and potentially implement some changes that would benefit carriers who use the highway system. Now, I was very transparent with them on the call. I explained to them that one of the biggest issues that carriers have with highway is the privacy concerns, right? Because the amount of documentation and the type of documentation that highway requests is concerning to a lot of people. I also mentioned that there are fantastic carriers out there who have trucks that are ELD exempt and they are kind of banned from using highway because highway requires an ELD connection. And of course, I also mentioned the fact that carriers and truckers feel like they are being attacked from pretty much every side as of late, and it would be nice to have at least some representation among these big systems that kind of ended up running this industry. In light of the fact that the call did go very well, and in light of the fact that Highway is willing to keep the door open when it comes to communication and voicing concerns, I would love to ask you for your help. Tell me what your concerns are. Tell me your experiences with Highway, what you think needs to change. What tools do you think would benefit carriers and truckers more who use this system? It can be about the vetting process of Highway. It can also be about their internal load board. I have already received some helpful comments under my post, under my post and short video last week, such as, of course, the concern regarding those ELD exempt trucks, to a comment that I found very interesting about somehow making it possible for carriers to see volatile brokers who might be using carrier 411 and shooting off freight guards very, very often. I'm not sure that that can be implemented, but it's still a valid question, opinion, thought. Just to give you an idea of one thing that I suggested for Highway to do, considering the fact that on January 16th of next year, the broker financial responsibility rule changes, and that puts carriers at risk, considering that if a broker's bond goes below 75,000, that broker can be shut down and the carrier will end up not getting paid. I suggested that Highway implements some kind of feature where carriers can check the bond status of any broker who uses Highway in real time. This is a way that carriers can benefit, and this is a way that carriers can be informed about who they are working with. Basically, I feel very blessed and very grateful that we have an open communication with Highway right now. And I want to make sure that that open door benefits truckers and carriers. I want all of us to get together and figure out ways or figure out changes that need to happen in order to make the lives of truckers and carriers a little bit easier. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think, what your concerns are. Maybe you need clarification of some processes that happen in Highway. After all, the first part of making a change is bringing awareness that there is an issue and that change is needed. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for joining and watching. Wishing you all a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep learning. See you in the next video.